If you're between jobs, you're actually in a strong position to build your Scrum Master experience and get the job. Why and how, you might wonder? What are you smoking, Kelly? The reason is time. Job hunting itself can be a full-time job. So if you're between jobs, you have more time to truly focus yourself on searching for that perfect Scrum Master job, the job where you can't wait to get out of bed every morning. So in this sprint, we're going to take advantage of that time you have available to intentionally build your experience precisely through the standard steps that everybody needs to go through to get that job. More specifically in this sprint, I'm going to show you how to use Scrum to get the Scrum Master job. So let's get to work. Remember how Scrum uses a backlog? It's your prioritized list of work items. And remember how in Scrum we do sprint planning to plan those work items into sprints? Then we do a review and retrospective of those at the end of the sprint. Well, that's exactly what you're going to do with the list of tasks that you need to do to get the job. Tricky, right? But what are those tasks, you might ask? Good question. The good news here is you're not alone. I'm going to give you those tasks right now. For the full list, go to the Materials tab of this sprint and you'll see them all written out there in the PDF. So we're going to call them stories and epics. So here's the list of epics and stories you'll create in your Get the Job backlog. The first epic is set your goal and create hope for yourself. So the next epic is a skills epic. Really important. All of these are really important. So the first story under there is make sure you're solid on the core Scrum Master skills you need. So use the skills section in the Scrum Master Apprenticeship program for that. Next story is follow the instructions in the skills and experience video when I say your turn. So that's not just a theoretical your turn. Those are actual practice tasks that you can take. Next story is do the actual games and quizzes in the skills sprints multiple times to ensure you feel solid. Next epic, experience. That's the big one that the job descriptions ask for. So the first story underneath that is review the mindset sprint on getting experience so your brain doesn't psych you out. Next story is build your experience at home. Next story, build your experience volunteering. Next, build your experience in your community. Next, build your experience through podcasts. Next, build your experience by observing if you can. The next story is build your experience through mentoring, super important, whether it's the live cohort or you get a personal mentor. Next story is build your experience through supervision, having someone observe you. And now on to the next epic, resume. So the first story under there is update your resume, then Scrumify your resume, and look at the sprints on that in this program. The next epic is personal brand. So first story there is build your foundation. So describe yourself at your best, like the free MBTI assessment sprint. The next story is create your personal brand, and these are all sprints in the program. Next is Scrumify your personal brand. And now we move on to the epic elevator speech. So under there, create your elevator speech, Scrumify your elevator speech. The next epic is network. So under there, network in Agile meetups. Next story, network on LinkedIn. The next story is Agile conferences. The next story is responding to blogs. And now on to the epic of LinkedIn. Really important. Don't ignore this. LinkedIn is key. So the first story under there is see the powerful job search tool there. There's a sprint on that. Next is Scrumify your LinkedIn profile. Next is optimize your LinkedIn profile for recruiters and bots. Don't panic, there's a sprint on all of these. Next story is informational interviewing. Really, really important. I would say that's probably in the top 2 most important in this program, informational interviewing. So learn how to do it. All right, the next epic is find openings. So the first story there is orient yourself to the current Scrum Master job market in detail. The next story is find openings on the boards like LinkedIn, Indeed, etc. Now the next epic is interview. So under there, get familiar with Scrum Master interview etiquette, like dressing for the job you want. So that's somewhat of a repeat of what I said earlier, but it bears repeating. The next story is say your personal brand out loud in the interview. Practice it beforehand. Next story, rehearse your answers to common interview questions in front of the mirror so that when you do them in the interview, it's just natural. Next story is record yourself answering interview questions, then review your recording for what you could do better. Next epic, money or compensation. So the first story there is review the key negotiating tips in that particular sprint. And then practice your negotiating skills using the guides in the negotiation sprint. The next story is plan ways to handle unconscious bias. It's a thing. And then the next epic is soft skills, your secret weapon, because soft skills are hard power. So the first story under there is practice active listening. Next, practice powerful questions. Next, do mindfulness practice, maybe even 5 minutes daily, even 30 seconds daily, but sit in a quiet way and allow your mind to just be quiet and calm. The next epic is leadership. So the first story there is learn group facilitation skills. There's a sprint on this. The next is learn conflict management. The next is look at the sprint on becoming an agile leader. So now you have your job hunting epics and stories. Do your sprint planning and run your sprints on them with daily stand-ups, reviews, and retros, even if it's just with yourself. I strongly recommend 1-week sprints. Why? Because shorter sprints help you stay focused, especially in high-stress activities like job hunting. It's stressful for everybody, so give yourself a break. And remember, you're not alone. You've got me and this program supporting you. And you have options for just a virtual version of the program or the live mentoring program, or both. If you'd like a supportive community, consider putting your name on the wait list for the Scrum Master Apprentice cohort, where you get to interact live with me in a small group of your peers as we travel through the journey to your dream job. To get on the wait list for that, just go to scrumpossible.com and you'll see the button on the upper left to join the wait list. And feel free to reach out to me personally with questions at coach_Kelly@scrumpossible.com. You can do this, Scrum Masters.